Welcome back to Dead Good Book Reviews. I'm Judith and you're watching another What I'm Reading Right Now video here on the channel. We're going to be talking about what I have been reading, what I'm currently reading, what I'm going to be reading in the future, and some other bits and bobs as we go. We're on week 45 of the year. You should know how it works by now, unless you're new here, in which case, welcome, please subscribe. Since the last time we spoke, I'm pretty sure I finished 8 things, which I'm very pleased with. Most happy. For the first time in maybe 5 weeks, I actually finished everything that was set out to be read in the week, which I don't think it's going to happen this week, but I'm very pleased that it happened last week. So let's talk about all of the things. First up, I finished Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This was a reread, or should I say re-listen, as I did the audiobook. I'm pretty sure the first time I read it, I had the digital copy, so it was a new format of reading it. Really enjoyed this. I think it's a really solid fantasy novel. It's a take on a pre-Columbus America, I believe. I can't quite remember, and Editing Judith can correct me if I'm wrong. I haven't talked about it in much detail for a very long time, but it's broadly speaking just like a really fun, fun in a dark kind of dramatic way fantasy novel with a hefty bit of romance, some really interesting world building. Skipping ahead slightly, I have also finished the sequel, which is called Fevered Star, and that I thoroughly enjoyed. I thought it was a fantastic sequel. I definitely recommend reading them close together because they do have continuation from one book to the other, but just, oh, so good. Really excited for the third book, which I believe comes out in March, maybe May of next year. I should get my spreadsheet up that tells me these things. You best believe I'm going to be reading it, and I'm really hyped to do so, which I'm really pleased to have progressed this series, because Fevered Star has been on my, oh yeah, I must read that at some point list for a very long time. August of 2023. So we've got a bit of a wait, and we'll probably reread them ready for that. So we'll talk about it again in the future. I finished Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sue Lin Tan. This is a sequel to Daughter of the Moon Goddess. If you'll remember, I really loved Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I was debating buying myself a hardback copy, but I thought, oh, I'll wait and see what other sequels like, because so many times with YA duologies, or YA adjacent duologies, as I feel like this one is, I just get a bit bogged down in book 2, and I don't love book 2. And in this case, I didn't like book 2, guys. I gave it 3 stars. I think that's my, charitable giving of 3 stars. I feel like for me it was probably more like a 2.5. That feels really mean because it's not badly written by any means, and the actual story in theory is not bad, and if you like the story and you love the characters, you'll probably have a decent time. But I couldn't with the fact that every single moment of every single second the main character was just being betrayed or double-crossed or blindsided or a whole host of things every time, and it was way too love triangle-y, and I just found myself getting really frustrated with the book as a whole. And I think that if you're planning on picking this up, just read book 1. I don't think you need to read the sequel. Book 1 rounded off neatly enough. Yeah, I'm frustrated about that, and it's been a week since I read it, so let's move on. I finished The Tiger at Midnight, and we'll jump ahead again because I also finished The Archer at Dawn, which is the sequel. These are both books in an Indian-inspired trilogy, I believe, by Swati Teerdala. They are absolutely beautiful, really beautiful books. I think I'm going to bequeath them to somebody else, not because I didn't love these. In fact, let's talk about them separately, because I really did enjoy Tiger at Midnight. I think it's a really good YA book if you're into YA at the moment, which we know I'm not really, but I had a good time with that. I think it's fast-paced. I think it's a fun cat and mouse kind of story. We have these 2 characters. One is a soldier, he's chasing her, she's an assassin. It's a great time. And then we have the second book problem of, well, we now no longer have that tension and that thing driving the plot along, so we've just got to expand the politics of it, and I wasn't here for it. This has court intrigue, which I know is some people's thing, but I've read court intrigue written better. I didn't love this as a sequel. I don't think it's as strong as book 1. And book 3 is already out. I can't remember what it's called, The Charioteer at Dusk, I think, something like that. I'll put the cover up. But I'm probably going to try and get that from the library, I think, and I'm going to not hang on to 2 beautiful hardback books that will bring someone else a lot of joy. Then I finished Tread of Angels by Rebecca Roanhorse. Purely coincidental that all of these books fell at the same time, but they did, and it was good. I enjoyed this well enough. I think if you're interested in reading some more shorter form, it's still long. It's about 200 pages, I think, so novella length. Rebecca Roanhorse's writing. I think that this manages to do the interesting world building, this kind of creation of this angelic and demonic parallels and world, and this sort of Western setting as well. Altogether, really interesting. I wasn't super sold on how the plot ended, because it's kind of a murder mystery, but it felt like it had to get wrapped up incredibly quickly, and I think I just would have liked it to be a full-length book. But also because I was reading Rebecca Roanhorse's long-form stuff at the same time, I knew how good it could be, and so I was missing that something from Tread of Angels. Still well worth reading if you think the concept sounds absolutely fascinating or you love Rebecca Roanhorse's writing, but for me, I don't think it's as strong if you haven't already read what's the actual series called? I should look that up. Between Earth and Sky. If you haven't already read Between Earth and Sky, you should read these. You should read those first, I think. I finished Blood of Assassins. This is the second book in the Wounded Kingdom trilogy. I'm working my way through all three of them. I enjoyed this. I think book one is stronger. Again, partly just because of that whole thing where the setup to book one tends to be stronger in series. It just is the way it is. I did like this though, there's a nice time jump between the two books, so you get a real sense of progression in the world, and it's sort of dealing with the fallout of the events of book one, which I'm always here for. I'm really interested to see how book three goes. I have started book three, but I haven't got very far in it. We'll come on and talk about it in a second. But overall, epic fantasy wise, I think these are really good fun, and they're kind of epic fantasy murder mystery whodunits, which is right up my alley. So I am enjoying it. I'm going to talk more when I finish book three. I finished Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This was a reread, but as I read it, I realised I had absolutely no recollection of anything that happened in this book, so it felt much more like reading it for the first time. I really like the start of this book. I think it goes downhill rapidly in terms of both the pacing and what's happening, and I think that's because there are a lot of reveals in the story. Like, Brandon Sanderson's known for putting, let me reveal to you how the world actually works and this big secret that was going on. But they come either way too close to the end or way too close to the beginning. They're not timed perfectly, which is unusual for Brandon Sanderson, because usually they come at just that right moment. So yeah, this is my least favourite Brandon Sanderson I've read so far. I still think it's worth reading if you are wanting to complete the set, as it were, but I don't know that it did a huge amount for me, and I can kind of tell why this is the one where the sequel hasn't really been written, because it's not as solid. But worth reading, and interesting to have these kind of princess main characters, and there's some good stuff in there. Just overall as a book, it doesn't feel finished to me. Yesterday I finished The Seek by Hannah Porter. This is a novella. It's not very long. This looks deceptively long. The audiobook's about 3 hours. It is about an alien invasion, but quite a benevolent one, it would seem, and it's kind of an exploration of grief and loss and how important grieving is and what it means to be human and all of those very kind of highbrow concepts. I actually think this is simultaneously a very sad and dark book and quite a humorous one. I think it's got a little bit of self-awareness in there, and I really enjoyed it. I did the audiobook, as I say, that's the second time I've done the audiobook for this. I've never actually sat down and read it physically. I think it's well worth listening to because it's very poetic in its prose. I've got an overbooked video to film for this, so we will talk about this very soon. So those are my 8 things that I already finished. I'm in the middle of 2 things at the moment, the first of which is City of Last Chances by Adrian Tchaikovsky. This is Tchaikovsky's return to fantasy. I think he's been writing around that for a little bit of time, but that's by the by, it's all marketing, isn't it? So far, I don't have a huge amount to say on this. I'm about 10% of the way through, and I tried to pick it up again today, and I kind of just went, I'll hold on to that for the future. It's not that it's not interesting, I just haven't quite grasped where it's going yet, so I'm feeling that one out. We're not entirely sold on it, we're not DNFing, it's just early days. And then, as I say, I have picked up King of Assassins by RJ Barker. I'm 62 pages into this, and I'm having a good time. I think reading a series is always enjoyable for me. It's one of my favourite things about reading fantasy as a genre, is you have these big trilogies, and longer series as well. We're still very much in the setup. Again, we've had a time jump from book 2 to book 3, so I'm still in the what's the world like at the moment and what needs to happen, and how is Gerton, our main character, going to have impact on this kind of stage. So I'm enjoying reading that. More on that next week. The last thing that I have on my list to read this week is The Red Scholar's Wake by Aliette de Bodard. This is a review copy that I have that I'm really, really excited for. I love Aliette de Bodard's writing, and this is lesbian space pirates, I believe, so very, very excited to pick this up. I am saving it for a journey because this Thursday and Friday, by the time you watch this video, I will have already gone to see Muna live in London, and I'm so excited. I'm actually going to scream, cry, fall down, collapse, ascend to heaven, return. It will just be amazing, and I'm really, really excited for it, and I need to edit this video very quickly in order to get it ready to go before I leave. Let's quickly touch on what I'm planning on reading next, because I'm kind of coming to the end of quite a lot of series and projects and things. The Way of Kings is next in my Brandon Sanderson project. This and The Alloy of Law are the last 2 that I've already read, and then from that onwards we shall be looking at purely new things, or new to me, which is very exciting. I have a few more owned TBR things to read. The Ascent to Godhood that I picked up when I was in York with my mum, finally getting around to reading that. Twilight Robbery, Frances Harding, very, very excited to pick this up after however many years of saying I need to read it. And another London Find, The Brighton Breaking Sea. And I'm partly showing these to you to remind myself that I have books on my TBR from the last time I was in London, and while I'm there I shouldn't buy any more books. A few new releases to touch on, most of which I have read. In fact, all of which I have read. Africa Risen is now out. This is a wonderful short story collection. If you're a person who enjoys that kind of thing, I thought it was very good. Good mix of stories. Talked about it in recent videos if you want to go look up what I thought about that. The Stars Undying by Emery Robinson, I actually ended up DNFing. It wasn't for me, but if this kind of like more wordy sci-fi Antony Cleopatra kind of thing, Cleopatra and Caesar actually, maybe Antony features. I don't know, I didn't finish it, but it is out now if you'd like to read it. Heart of the Sun Warrior is out. I already mentioned that it wasn't for me and it kind of annoyed me, but maybe you really want to read it, in which case you now can. And lastly, Gleanings by Neil Shusterman and a few other authors. This is a collection of short stories in the world of Arc of a Scythe. Ooh, I've said that way too many times. I really like this as a short story collection. I think it adds to the world, it rounds it out in a really enjoyable way. Yes, I would recommend reading it, particularly if you liked the previous books. If you didn't like the previous books, it's probably not going to be for you, to be perfectly honest. Okay, as I say, I need to get this video edited in about half the time that I normally have, so if you're watching this, that means I succeeded. But in order to succeed, I need to stop talking so that I can start importing all the footage and getting it all sorted. What have you been reading? What have you been up to? Have any of the books that I've talked about piqued your interest? Let me know down in the comments below. I always love reading your comments, and I will be on trains when you're commenting them, so I can comment back and it'll be a lovely time. While you're down there, if you haven't already, please do subscribe. It makes me feel loved and appreciated. You can also follow me on social media. Come hang out on Discord. We have chill chats about books. I'd like to say a huge shout out to my patrons over on Patreon who support the channel and get early access to videos and bonus content if you would like to join their number. That link is down there as well. Thank you so much for watching. That's all from me, and I will see you in the next one. There's gonna be some bloopers now. I'm in the middle of 3 things? 2 things?